Hi, Mom. Thank you for helping me with my communications project. Today, I'll be asking you 5 questions just about your life and the experiences that you've had. The interview should take about 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to also record our conversation so I could use it for my assignment. Do you agree to be recorded?
Yes, Mija.
Okay. What was your childhood like, and what are some memories that have stayed with you?
I would say I was very blessed.
Mm.
I had a very blessed childhood. My parents were a little bit older.
Yeah.
So we were kind of old school.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a sister
Mm-hmm.
and I had a dog. And I lived very close to school. It doesn't exist anymore, but I would walk there every day. We would walk as a family, actually. And we would get to school, and then my parents would say goodbye, drop me off, and they would pick me up, but we walked because we didn't have a car. So we walked, and then when I was old enough, I was able to get a bike, and I was able to save up and ride my bike to school.
Can I ask you, do you think your life would have turned out differently if you had a car as you were growing up?
Definitely. We had to rely on transportation, and my grandma and grandpa were a big help. They picked us up. Me and my sister, they picked me up and took us places. While my parents worked, they watched us.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nice.
So going back to the question, what is that memory that has stayed with you the whole time?
I think just the importance of family. That was all we had back then, but it wasn't much, but it was just enough.
Yeah.
So, if you have family, you have everything you need.
I agree.
Yeah, and we used to do beach trips, which was, I think, my favorite because my grandmother, who's not around anymore. Sorry, Mija, that's just how I cope. But
no worries.
We used to ride bikes every day, and my grandma actually was very wealthy, which was nice. So we would go down and get ice cream, and we used to go to Corona del Mar. That was our favorite beach.
Mm-hmm.
And we would ride bikes, and we would get ice cream, and we used to go thrifting. That was our thing. So we would always go thrifting at the little consignment stores because we could find nicer things there because, the people there are a bit wealthy. So we would go thrifting, and then we would come home, and I would always stay the night at Grandma's house. We would do this every Friday.
Oh.
It was so nice. And then my dad worked for a company that would give him museum passes.
Yeah.
So we would go to the museums on Sundays. So it was nice. We were always busy and active. We all grew up doing sports.
That's true.
I did sports all my life, which was very nice. It was nice to be active.
Yeah.
And a little bit later in my life, my parents got a lake house, which was so nice. So we were able to just have our little getaway for vacation at the lake. It's in Vegas.
Yeah. So was it just crazy from going from being broke, not even having a car, to having a lake house?
Yes. So my parents' business took off and it grew exponentially.
Oh.
They work in the tire business, and I guess as new inventions and new things came out, they needed tires. So my dad was doing extremely well, actually. So we were so grateful for that. So we no longer relied on our grandma's money, and we were actually able to buy a lake house and kind of pay her back for that.
Oh.
For the little time that we had, we enjoyed. And we have a boat now, actually, and I take my kids there all the time now.
That's true. I remember growing up on the lake.
And we relive our memories there, actually. I just, try and give the kids, my kids, the life they deserve. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah.
Now moving on to the next question. What motivates you to keep going during difficult times?
I think I have, Christ is my rock.
That's true.
Right? So I have a good relationship with the Lord, and I trust in Him that everything happens for a reason, and that, He wouldn't put me through things I couldn't handle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I was raised very Christian, which was very nice. So we grew up, going in the church. So we used to go to church every Sunday as well.
Yeah.
So I think just trusting in God and knowing that He has plans and His plans are better than my plans really helps when I'm struggling or going through hard times.
Yeah.
And I try and, I've gained a lot of patience over the years. So I've learned to just, I'm not in control of everything, but I'm in control of my emotions. So
yeah,
it helps to not act out and just breathe, take a second to breathe before I act or get mad.
I agree. So coming back to the question, what is like the big motivator?
Okay, the big motivator for me is my family and my kids,
Yeah.
I just want to be the best version of myself for them. I want to give them everything that they deserve and more. I want them to grow up even better than I did.
Yeah.
So they're my biggest motivation to just, keep going. If I want to give up, I keep going for my kids. I just have to push through, and I want to show them that perseverance and hard work can get you a long ways, Nothing is impossible if you believe in Christ and you have the hard work and dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Do you mind giving an example?
Yeah, okay, so what motivates? Okay, so when I was a little bit younger with my first daughter, we lost our home. We had some, financial difficulties.
I do. I know you're laughing, but I feel like that's just the way you cope with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we lost our home, so we actually had to go move in with my dad's parents for a while. And that was challenging, but I just wanted to, I knew that I was going to get through it, and my motivation was at that time to, have a house for my family so we didn't have to stay with my grandparents. So, the biggest thing is, my kids, but that really just showed me like, some things.
Okay, now moving on to question 3. What advice would you give me as I begin adulthood?
Okay, yes. So as we begin adulthood, the biggest piece of advice I could give you is to remember that life is not a race. It's good to slow down, It's easy to look around and think everyone else has everything figured out. Especially when you're on social media. We didn't have that back in my day. But that's usually not the full story. Everyone has their own path and their own timing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is don't compare yourself to others, Comparison is literally the thief of joy.
I agree.
I believe that. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself because, you always want to be better each day. Where was I? Sorry. Instead of, trying to keep up with everyone else, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. Just, you need to live in the moment, right? Because if you're always worried about the future, you're going to miss the now and the present, right? And you're going to look back and be like, I wish I enjoyed my time back then. That's what I wish I did. I wish I slowed down more. I was so focused on the future, and I needed to just enjoy the present, like I wish I enjoyed time with my grandparents a little bit more.
Yeah.
I took that time for granted. And especially as I got older, and I went to college and stuff. I was so I was like, oh, I don't really need my family as much. I'm becoming an adult. Now
more independent,
I'm independent, I gained my independence, right? But, you need them just as much as when you're younger, right?
Yeah.
So I wish I just enjoyed them and enjoyed their presence and lived in the now, I would say, because you can't get time back.
That's true.
I also want you to work hard. Hard work is so important. I think it is.
I agree.
One of the best qualities you could have, hard work. And hard work, like I mentioned before, will get you anywhere you want to go.
Do you think you'd be in the same place that you are today without going hard, without working hard?
No, my parents were a great example of that. They always worked hard. They always, worked overtime. My mom would always stay in the office later than needed. She would work after hours. She was always willing to help others and, help our family. So she did everything possible to make a little extra money, even if we, didn't always need it, or she would always give to others, which was very nice.
Yeah.
So back on working hard in everything you do.
Yeah.
It could, whether it's school, a job or a career that you may have in the future.
Yeah.
Just, I want you to always give your best, and because people always notice that, right? You want to make a good impression on people.
Yeah.
So I think hard work is it's amazing when they're like, she is so hardworking, right?
Yeah.
That's a quality that will last on people.
Okay.
And a good impression. Someone who is dependable and willing to learn. goes a long way for jobs and stuff. I know it's a little bit harder to get a job nowadays. If you just have a willingness to learn and you're dependable and you show up on time, always show up on time. You know? Being on time matters, right?
I agree 100%.
Yes. So yeah. Oh, don't never be afraid, you know, to ask questions or make mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect. Mistakes are natural. And you know what? Mistakes make you human, right?
No, yes, definitely.
It is hard because, you know, I myself am a perfectionist and I want to be the best at everything, but in order to be the best, you have to make mistakes, right? You have to learn from your mistakes. So you have to just overcome those mistakes and, you know, treat each day as a new day. So you got to just move on and get past it, right?
Yes.
You can't dwell on your mistakes. What else? Nobody becomes successful without failing at some point, right? Like, think of all the big people. They failed, like inventors and stuff, you know, it wasn't like awesome on the first try, right? Like, let's think of the person who invented the light bulb. He had so many he had so many failed attempts, right? It wasn't like a one thing, you know, like one try, right? He had multiple, and he didn't give up. You know, that goes with hard work and perseverance.
I feel like I could see that in influencers too. That might be 21st century of me. But in the sense that if you're an influencer, you're bound to get canceled at least once. You just have to recover from that. Or at least that's what I see.
I've seen that on the news as well, yes. You know, but the important thing to know, Mija, is that learning from those mistakes and not letting them stop you from moving forward, right? Just one foot in front of the other, keep going, keep your head high.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I really appreciate that.
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Sorry. You know, another thing that I want you to remember, sorry, I have so many things, is to be responsible with your money, right? It's so easy, especially with the online shopping nowadays, to just shop away.
No, I really do. I get carried away.
It's so easy, right? Like, you know, you taught me how to just click and use the Apple Pay thing. It's great. It works wonders, right? So be smart with your money, you know, spend it here and there, spoil yourself, you know, nothing wrong with that. But also, you know, think about your future and save, right? Yeah. So, yeah. And be generous with your money, you know, always give and donate. And tithe is very important. You know, and as you start earning more, like I said, it can be tempting to spend right away, but, you know, learning to save early will help you in your future.
Thank you.
Last thing, I also hope you surround yourself with people who, you know, encourage and uplift you, right? People who bring out the best in you. I'm very fortunate. I have amazing friends that do this. Yeah. So, you know, iron sharpens iron, right? You are who you surround yourself with, right? Yes. And I'd say, you know, nowadays you spend more time with your friends than your family. So they have a big influence on you. So just remember that.
Okay, so now moving on to question 4. What is one family tradition or memory that means the most to you?
Gosh, I have so many. Yeah, I know, because back then, you know, there was no screens, right? Yeah, it's so old of me to say, but, you know, I was always outdoors and stuff. But, you know, one family tradition I would say that means the most to me and that I still remember vividly to this day is Christmas. My parents are Mexican, so we did posadas. So that's different here. So let me just explain a little bit. So we go to Mexico to do those because they don't really do those here. They're not very popular.
I remember doing some growing up. I do.
Yes. We don't do them as much, but...
Oh, yeah.
But yes, so...
Very faint memories.
Yes, we would gather and we would always pray and say the rosary. All my family in Mexico is Catholic, but my parents actually converted to Christian. So I was raised Christian, but my, you know, great-grandparents and cousins are all Catholic. Yeah. So whenever I would go to Mexico, we would pray and say our rosary, and we would sing, and then at the end of singing, we would have a big feast, and everybody would bring something, so it was so nice.
What was, like, your favorite thing?
Probably the tamales. They were so good. And someone would bring, like, frijoles a la charra, or...
What's that?
They're beans.
Oh.
They're like a bean... like a bean soup, basically, and there's, like, sausage, and it's actually really good. I have to make it for you one day. Yeah. Anyways, so that was really nice, because we would just sing, and we prayed, and then we would play games on end. We loved La Loteria. We loved Mexican Train. There was this one game I can't quite remember, but it was like a 4-hour game. I can't quite remember, but it was like a 4-hour game, and we played we loved it. It was so much fun. So I definitely miss that. You know?
I do remember growing up like playing Rummy Cube a lot.
Yes, we're a big game family.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely the posadas, but my husband, his family is white. They're American, you know. So we also have different traditions here, it was different. It was a change, like a culture shock, but it was nice. We would the night before Christmas Eve, we would actually open our presents on Christmas Eve, which is funny, and we would have a dinner. The dinner was always ham, so it was different. You know, I'm
not the biggest fan of ham.
No, neither am I. You know.
Yeah.
Good thing we've changed it. But it was ham, and it was like salads and fruits and pies. So it was, you know, not your traditional Mexican food, which is, it's all right. Took some getting used to, but they're a big outdoor family, so we would always go to the park.
Yeah.
And play baseball or, you know, American football. Yes. So that was always fun. So, and then we would all go to bed early, actually, and then we would wake up Christmas morning, and we would come over and have a Christmas brunch, and then we would take photos under the Christmas tree, and then we would just talk about what we got, like our presents and stuff. So that was nice. And I think I will carry that on with my children, but I think I would carry on more the posadas, just because it's more family oriented, and it was just nice. You know, because I feel like here nowadays, Christmas is all about presents, and you know, it's kind of forgotten that it's the day our Savior Christ was born. You know, so it's not about presents. You know, I think I'm gonna try and, you know, give them presents, obviously, but not too many to where that's all they're expecting. You know, I want it to be more focused on celebrating the birth of Jesus and the importance of family.
And it's never too late to start a new tradition.
No.
Yeah.
No, it is never too... We're always, you know, trying to start new traditions and new things.
Well, like the one last year, I liked that we had a birthday cake for Jesus. That was really nice.
Yes. We, your cousin actually requested that after he was, he went to a Christian school, you know. He thought we should celebrate him, right? Like, it's his birthday, right? So we did that, and that was really nice, and that was pretty sweet to see. You know, I have many. Easter... You know, Easter is a family favorite here. Yeah. We do the big egg hunt, and someone dresses up as the Easter Bunny, and
it's always Dad.
Always traumatizes those kids, but in the end they love it, right?
Yeah.
And then they go swimming at our community pool.
Yeah.
They go swimming in the pool, and we have a big old barbecue. So yeah. Oh, sorry, you asked for one family tradition. That was multiple.
It sure was. Okay. So, go ahead.
Sorry, I have one more.
No worries.
You know, we used to camp growing up, and it was so much fun. So we're actually going to bring that back.
Was it?
It was. We had, like, we would, my grandparents had a motorhome, which is nice. So we glamped, I guess you should say, right?
Yeah.
But it was still nice. We used to go up to Pismo Beach every summer, and that was so nice. And we would just catch shells, and we would wake up super early and have pancakes. And we've been to Yosemite, which was amazing.
Yeah,
and
I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah,
it's nice. Yeah.
We've been to see the big redwood trees. We've been to Montana and Colorado and Utah. So we've really, you know, seen the world. But just camping, I think it's nice to just get in touch with nature and to just admire, you know, God's beauty, because we're always cooped up inside, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what's lying out there, and it's just amazing to see the nature and just to see God's wonderful work. And just, what do you kids say now? Touch grass?
Yeah, I did teach you that word.
Yes. Touch grass, right? Put down the screens and touch some grass. It's important to also, you know, play a little, right? No matter your age.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. And we will be going camping this year, actually, surprise. Yes.
Dad told me, actually.
Oh, yes. Well, anyways, so I hope you enjoy that.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to question 5. If you were able to go back in time and tell your younger self a couple things, what would it be?
Gosh, there's...
To question 5, if you were able to go back in time and tell your younger self a couple things, what would it be?
Gosh, there's so many things, you know.
It's hard to narrow it down.
It is, but I think if I could go back and, you know, tell my younger self...
Or maybe, let me say, like, if you could also warn them about something.
Yeah. You know, it would just be, don't be so hard on yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're learning, you're new to things, right? It's your first time living, right? So just don't be so hard on yourself. You know, when I was younger, I spent a lot of time, you know, just worrying. I was always worrying, you know, I was such a worrier. I just worry about whether I was making good decisions or making the right decisions, right?
Because you're a perfectionist.
Yes, I am. Or I was always questioning whether I was good enough, right? But I actually found my worth in Christ.
Oh.
And I realized, you know, I will never be good enough for the world, but I am good enough for Christ, right?
Amen.
And I can always be better. So that's just, you know, don't be so hard on yourself, right? Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself and others. I think that is the biggest thing to forgive, because if God can forgive us, we can forgive others, right?
Yes.
That's pretty big. You know, just looking back, I realized I put so much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
You know, when I didn't need, just unnecessary pressure, right? And I remember I would always stress myself out for no reason, right? It's just like the littlest things. But back then it was like, it just seemed like it's the biggest thing in the moment. But, you know, just life has a way of working out, you know, even if things don't go exactly as you planned, right? Like I said, God has a plan and it's greater than yours.
Yes.
So, you know, and also failure, you know, like I said, I hate, you know, not succeeding, right? But it's just part of life, and you learn.
You live and you learn.
Right, you learn how to kind of cope with it, right?
Yeah.
So I would tell myself, you know, don't be afraid to fail, right? You know, you're young, mistakes are going to happen, right? And also when you're a teen, it can feel like it's the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't mean to call you dramatic, but I too was there, and just things don't go your way, and it's easy to think like...
It feels like the end of the world.
No,
it does.
Quite literally, yes. You know, you think one bad decision or one setback is going to define your whole future, but that is not the case at all, right? Thinking back about, I don't even remember, like, my mistakes, right? That's how small they were, and they felt so big in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Just every mistake teaches you something, you know, if you're willing to learn from it, right? You just got to have an open mind, like I said.
Yeah.
Just be willing to learn, right? There it is, willing to learn. You know, some of the hardest moments in my life, you know, I've learned some valuable lessons, right?
Yeah.
So you got to challenge yourself and always push yourself. And
you do tell me that all the time, that every day is a lesson.
Yes.
So I do appreciate that.
Right? Yes. So take your mistakes as a lesson, right? You can always learn and grow from them. Don't treat it as you're bad or you're anything less than you should be. You know, and I wouldn't be the person I am today, you know, without those experiences and without what I've experienced.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would also tell myself, you know, to just be more confident, right?
Yeah.
You know, especially today, it's hard to be so confident because you see people online and it looks like they're perfect, right? Their life is all figured out, but everybody has ups, everybody has downs, right? They just post what's good. So you have to think, like, their life is not perfect. They only post the good stuff, right? So just be confident and be who you are, right? There's nothing, like, you know, you make a good impression on someone when you're confident. Always walk in a room confident. Always, always, always. You know, don't, have good posture. BB is what I teach my kids.
Yeah, I remember that growing up.
Yes. I can tell you, it's, who knows, it's boobs and butt. So, you know, just kind of pop them out and have a straight back, right?
Yes.
Posture, confidence goes with confidence, you know. And even if you're unsure, right, just be confident. You never know. Just, if you're confident, something like fake it till you make it, right?
Amen.
There you go. You know, there was some times where I doubted myself because I compared myself to other people, right? In my work, there was people who were above me and always dressed so much nicer than I did. And so I was just, like, comparing myself, like, oh, I'm not going to be good enough, or I don't fit in, right? But, you know, if you're confident and you just go in and act like you're one of them, it works. They don't treat you any differently, right?
Yeah.
And you're just, all the worries, all the lies that you put in your head.
Yes.
Yes. So, so, you know, I never measured my success or talents to other people, right? Because I can't really compare and I don't know what they're going through. You know, so I think that's just a big lesson. And just appreciate the people around you, right?
Yes.
Everybody's in your life either for a season or a long time, right? It could be a day, it could be a month, it could be a year, but you don't know how long you have with someone, right? So just cherish those moments because you never know when the last time is you'll see them. And I wish, you know, looking back, I wish I spent more time with people that have passed. But just enjoy the people around you. They're a gift, right? God puts them in your life for a reason. So, you know, just cherish them, appreciate them, tell them you love them. Because, you know, tomorrow's not promised.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was our last question for today's interview.
Okay.
Thank you for
yes, of course. One piece of advice, if you will.
Honestly, that I liked what you said about that I might not be perfect for the world, but I am perfect for Jesus Christ, for God.
Yes, yes.
And really that's just what I need to remember, even for myself. So as long as I instill it in myself, I know my kids are going to see that in me and it's going to be instilled into them. So that's what I would say.
Yes, amen. You know, never forget your relationship with the Lord and everything else will fall into place, right?
Right.
So,
well, thank you, Mom.
Yes, of course, sweetie.